Hello everybody, it's Maikito. For tomorrow's game, there's only one game, and that's the Copa America game between Argentina and Ecuador. And there are some MLS games that are tomorrow as well. But when it comes to the props, there's not any props up at all. So I'm really gonna be going over a couple picks, at least one on each side for that Copa America game, to at least get a video out for you guys. And I found some that I did like, so I'll get straight into that. My first pick is Romero to go higher than 78.5 passes for Argentina. He's gone over this mark in one out of the two games. One, he went over with 93, and the one when he went under with 74. He went under by 5 passes. And in my opinion, Ecuador's plan will likely be to hit Argentina off the counterattack, which obviously means more possession for Argentina, which is good for us. More passes for him. And Ecuador's last 3 games, they gave 66, 55, and 60% of the ball to their opponents. That 66% was because they did have a red card, but still, even the 2 games where they were all even on both sides, they gave away 55 and 60. So if they gave away that to teams like Jamaica and Mexico, I expect them to give more to Argentina. And I also say that because they played twice since September of last year. When they played in September, Argentina has 71% of the ball, and when they played back in June, just a month ago, Argentina has 65% of the ball. So expect a lot of Argentina possession, which again is good for us because we need him to get those passes. And he's gonna be playing next to Lisandro. In one of the games he played with him, and one he didn't. He went under the one where he didn't play with him, and the one where he did play with him, he went over and had 93. So I think this is a good line for him. Ecuador's not going to want to be too aggressive because Argentina can easily punish them off the counter attack. So he's going to have good opportunities to pass the ball. So like Cristian Romero to go higher than 78.5 passes. My second Argentina prop is actually Rodrigo Depaul to go higher than 1.5 fouls. He's gone over in 1 out of 2 games this tournament. In one he had 3, and the other he had 0. And in those 2 games that I mentioned earlier where they played them in September and June, he went over in both of those games. In one he had 2 fouls, and the other one he had 4. So, and when you take a look at his averages in the season when he played for his club, in the league he averaged 1.17. In the Copa del Rey he averaged 1.71. In the Champions League he averaged 1.17, and in World Cup qualification he averaged 1.11. So he's definitely gonna get that one. He averages that one. It's just whether he gets that second one, and I think he will. Like I mentioned, he went over in both of the games, and I expect this to be a very physical game, especially in the quarterfinal game. Both teams have a lot to play for, and they're going to be aggressive because they're going to want, obviously, to help their team win the game. And he's likely going to be playing as one of the 2 center mids. Sometime Argentina play 4-3-3 with 3 midfielders, and he'll move up and down and stuff like that. But this game, he's likely going to be playing in a 4-4-2 type formation with him being one of the 2 midfielders. And I like that because which means he's going to be playing probably next to McAllister. So he's going to be moving up and down. He's going to have more defensive duties than what he usually does when he plays in a 4-3-3 and stuff like that. So whenever Ecuador hits on the counter, when they try to, he's going to be one of those that's going to be back there trying to stop it. So he could do a tactical foul to try to stop him, or he could just foul him just because he's trying to get the ball and he like misplays his tackle. So I think against a team that he's had good history against recently, and it's a game where they're gonna have to be aggressive. And Copa America games in general are very, very aggressive games. I like Rodrigo De Paul to go higher in the 1.5 fouls. And the one prop that I like for Ecuador, I was going back and forth between a couple of them, but this is the one that I think I like the most, and that's Angelo Preciado to go higher than 1.5 tackles. In this tournament, he's gone over in 2 out of 3 games, with the 1 miss was in the first game where he had 1, in the second game he had 2, and in this recent game he had 4. And when you look at his averages when he played in the league, and just in general, when he was playing for qualification, he averaged 2.1. He averaged around 3 in the Europa League, and he had 1 in the friendly that they played earlier this year. And I just feel like it's going to be more attacks this game. It was a friendly, so both teams weren't trying as hard as they should. It was just like a friendly and stuff like that, and you only have 1 there. But now in this game, again, where it's all to play for, I expect more Argentinian attacks, which obviously gives him more opportunity to get those tackles. And whenever Ecuador gets those counterattacks, he's going to be one of the ones that's going to be pushing up and try to attack because he is an overlapping fullback. So whenever they lose the ball or something like that, he could be there to try to tackle and try to get the ball back. Or when he's running back and trying to get on the go back on defense, he can get tackles there as well. And because on the opposite side of his field is where Messi and stuff is going to be at. and Messi likes to play those through balls and stuff like that to his teammates on the other side. So he's going to be in charge of trying to stop opponents on that side as well. And the reason why I feel like this is at 1.5 instead of something like 2 is because they expect Argentina to be more on the right side and stuff like that. But he's still going to have to be guarding players like McAllister and Julian Alvarez and even Di Maria if he starts to move to that side, because they tend to move around and stuff like that. So against and he's gonna have Hincape on the other side. So, and he's in my opinion a better defender. So they could also try to attack more on his side because he could be targeted and looked as the weaker defender. So in the game where he has to be out there and be aggressive, and he in the league and stuff, he averages 2, a little over 2, and some he averages 3. I think 1.5 is just a little too low for him, and I'll take my chances. He definitely gets that 1, especially against that second. Again, I'll take my chances. I like Angelo Preciado to go higher than 1.5 tackles. Real quick, I'd like to shout out my partner, Underdog Fantasy. You can use code Maikito in the description. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. And then I also have my memberships available to you guys if you're interested in that. It's just for those that want the videos out early. It's not required or anything, but it's also a good way to support the channel if you guys are ever interested in that. And I have my Fliff and my Cashapp linked as well. And I appreciate and thank anybody who supports me in any way. When it comes to the money lines, I'm not going to make it too complicated. I'm going to just give you 2. You can parlay them if you want to, or you can mix and match them with your own plays. But for my first one, I'm going for the Argentina money line against Ecuador. Pretty straightforward. They have yet to lose against them since October of 2015. That's 7 games that they've beat them in or tied them straight. And when it comes to them playing them in the Copa America games, they have never lost against them. They've beat them every single time. And in the games in September and June that they just played, Argentina won both of those games 1-0. And notice how Ecuador didn't score. And in the 3 games this tournament, Argentina have yet to concede a single goal this tournament. So there's always the chance that Ecuador doesn't even score at all. So, and Argentina's attack is just going to be too much for this Ecuadorian side, in my opinion. Obviously, they have Messi, they have Di Maria, they have Julian Alvarez, and they have an informed Lautaro Martinez who has scored in every single game this tournament, and he scored 4 goals in 3 games. So if you want to look at that as a potential play, you can put maybe think about Lautaro scoring a goal, see if he can keep a streak going. But I don't want to trust a play like Lautaro because he can be streaky at times. So I think I'll go with the safe play here and take Argentina money line against Ecuador. And then when it comes to the MLS ones, there was one that I did like, and that's the Colorado Rapids money line against Sporting Kansas City. They've won 5 out of 9 games at home and have won their last 4 out of 5 at home as well. And when that one game that they didn't win in the last 5 home games was a draw, and this is ultimately, in my opinion, going to come down to outscoring Sporting Kansas City. They're the 3rd worst away team, and they've lost 7 out of 10 games that they've played away from home. They've scored 11 goals in 10 games, but they've conceded 21. So they're just not good at defending at all. And Colorado have scored 18 goals in 9 home games. So they've averaged 2, and going against a weak Sporting Kansas City side is going to be good for us. You get more value taking them to win than for them scoring 2 goals. And I do not think Sporting Kansas City scores 2, in my opinion. They've lost their last 5 out of 5 away games. And if you look at the injuries, so both teams have some injuries, but in my opinion, Sporting Kansas City's are more important. They are missing Saloy, who's a good piece that they have in the attack. They're missing Walter, who's a midfielder for them that's good and hold up play for them. And their most important, in my opinion, is Ndede, who is their attacking fullback. He's good at defending, and he helps them in the attack when it comes to scoring. So I feel like they have 3 major injuries that it's going to affect them. It's going to be coming in Colorado's favor, and they don't have any major injuries. And both, it's not like Colorado have any teams, any players that got called up to any tournaments or anything. So I think it's a good spot for a good Colorado team at home against a bad Sporting Kansas City team away with injuries. I like Colorado Rapids money line against Sporting Kansas City. For those that are wondering on last video's picks, the YouTube ones went 2-2. Davinson Sanchez higher than 2 tackles. He only ended with 1, sadly. And then Schultzen higher than 60.5 passes. He was definitely going to hit this mark. He ended at 54, but got subbed out with like 25 minutes to go or something like that. And then the 2 that hit, Netherlands higher than 1.5 goals hit. They ended with 3. And then Guler higher than 1.5 tackles hit. And then I don't even want to talk about the added plays. I believe I added like 5, and those did not go well. So I just try to get more picks because I had only get 4. But I'm going to just try to only find the one. I just try to give more, and I shouldn't have done that. But that's just for those that were wondering how last picks went. Thank you everybody for watching. If you could like the video and leave a comment, you can say anything you want. It just helps boost the video out to more people. And if you are subscribed and like the content, please put on turn on notifications so you get notified whenever these videos come out. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good day, a good night, and we can cash out tomorrow.